US President Donald Trump vowed during his campaign trail to end the Russia-Ukraine war, curb inflation, and drive economic growth. Now, as president, he faces the daunting task of turning those promises into reality, and he believes that the key lies with Saudi Arabia. But why Saudi Arabia? What does it have to offer? And how can it help end the Russia-Ukraine war? This is Shubhangi Sharma for CNN News 18. Let's dive in. There is significant buzz between Donald Trump and Saudi Arabia. Trump has floated the idea that his first international diplomatic destination could be Saudi Arabia. This is a major honor for the Saudi monarchy as Trump breaks with tradition. Most US presidents usually make their first visit to the UK or Canada, but not Trump. In 2017, during his first term, Donald Trump threw a surprise when he went to Saudi Arabia for his first diplomatic tour. It was criticized at the time and linked with the Trump family's business interests, but it also made sense geopolitically as ties were strained between the preceding Obama administration and Riyadh, and well, the Saudis were ready to spend big money. Now here's what Trump told journalists at the Oval Office.
Well, it could be Saudi Arabia, it could be UK. Traditionally, it's been UK. Last time I went to Saudi Arabia because they agreed to buy $450 billion worth of United States merchandise, including a lot of military equipment and farm equipment and other equipment. And if that offer were right, I'd do that again.
Now here Trump was alluding to a defense deal where the kingdom agreed to purchase arms from the United States worth $110 billion immediately and $350 billion over 10 years. This time, the kingdom is ready with more gifts. It is offering $600 billion in the next 4 years in investments and trade with the US. Trump, true to his art of the deal, is not yet satisfied and wants to round off that number to $1 trillion. That means more defense deals, something that the Saudis would welcome as they rely on US weaponry and defense systems. And yet, there's one more thing that Trump wants from Saudi Arabia, and that really puts the spotlight on Saudi Arabia's geopolitical leverages. He wants Saudi Arabia to end the Russia-Ukraine war. How it could do that, Trump believes, is by dropping the price of oil. In a speech addressed to the World Economic Forum at Davos, Trump said that he would ask Saudi Arabia and the Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries, OPEC, to bring down the price of crude. He said, and I quote, "If the price came down, the Russia-Ukraine war would end immediately."
If the price came down, the Russia-Ukraine war would end immediately.
Trump said that he was surprised that they did not do so before the election, and let me quote, "That did not show a lot of love by them doing it. I was a little surprised by that." You see, Russia relies heavily on oil revenues to fund its war effort. If Saudi Arabia and OPEC were to increase oil production, driving prices down, it could significantly reduce Russia's income. This wouldn't just weaken Putin's war machine, it would force him to the negotiating table, strengthening Ukraine's position relatively before making a deal. So far, Saudi Arabia has done nothing to change this dynamic despite supposedly being an ally of the United States. But that's because it has not been on good terms with the previous US administration. The Biden administration's relationship with Saudi Arabia started off on a bad note because Biden had called the kingdom a pariah. The Saudi leadership has been accused of being involved in the murder of journalist Jamal Khashoggi, and that became a major bone of contention between the two countries when Biden took over in 2021. However, in 2022, as the war in Europe raged on and inflation rose, Biden had to fold and make a visit to the kingdom where he gave Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman a fist bump. But that was not enough to convince the Saudis to help. 3 months later, Saudi Arabia snubbed Biden when the OPEC Plus group, which includes Russia, decided to significantly cut oil production by 2 million barrels per day, raising oil prices in the US and obviously not helping when it comes to the war in Europe. This brings us to the influence of Saudi Arabia, the world's largest crude oil exporter, responsible for approximately 13% of global production. As a de facto leader of OPEC, Saudi Arabia's decisions shape the global oil market. If the Saudis were to flood the market with oil, they could drive energy costs down within weeks. However, this move would likely upset another major oil exporter, Russia. In recent years, Saudi Arabia has carefully balanced its ties with both Russia and the United States. For Saudi Arabia to take such a step, then, the US would need to strengthen its relationship with the kingdom, meeting its defense and regional political demands. This move will come at a cost to Riyadh and its OPEC partners, but it could earn them unprecedented favor with the new US president. After all, they would be helping Trump secure a major diplomatic victory, one that could define his presidency. But is it really that straightforward? Lowering oil prices to end the war? While it's not a complete solution, it does create an opportunity to weaken Russia's position. Trump is not keen on extending military aid to Ukraine, and instead he has a 100-day deadline set to come to a solution. In fact, during the campaign trail, he said that he could end the war in a day. So the pressure is real. The president is in a hurry, and he seeks to get the best deal possible for Ukraine in these circumstances. Another question you may ask is, why can't the US reduce oil prices on its own? Drill, baby, drill. Hasn't Trump been saying this?
Drill, baby, drill.
After all, the US is the largest producer of oil in the world. But here's the catch. The USA's oil is mostly for itself, and it exports only a small amount globally. It will be months before Trump can ramp up the country's production capacity. But having set a 100-day deadline to come to a solution to the Ukraine war, Trump cannot wait. What Trump needs right now is a quick and controlled dip in oil prices, and for that he needs Saudi Arabia. And that's why his message is loud and clear. Everything is on the table as long as Saudi Arabia leaves the tap on as per his will. If done strategically, this could not only pressure Russia, but also stimulate global economic growth by reducing energy costs worldwide. This brings us to the global aspect. Trump also linked lower oil prices to lower interest rates. This would practically usher a global economic revival. Reduced energy costs would ease inflationary pressures, giving central banks room to cut interest rates. Cheaper borrowing in turn could boost consumer spending and business investment, sparking a wave of economic growth. That will have a positive ripple effect even for India. Sure, there are risks and uncertainties intertwined with Trump's suggestions, given the impact it may have on Indian imports of Russian oil, which has breathed new life into India-Russia ties. But as the second largest importer of crude oil, India can use all the oil it can get. Lower energy costs and interest rates could potentially be a game changer and might just be the turbo boost needed for its Make in India strategy.